Hello, guess where I am today? Look who's here. Mandy Shaw. Now, I mean, the world know who you are, but just in case, right, my new viewers have got no idea who are you, where'd you come from, what do you do?
Oh, hi, my name is Mandy Shaw.
Yes.
I'm a designer and
really?
an author, yes, and I make and create wonderful craft products for people to make.
That's exactly it, isn't it? And
It
it
is.
really is, when you think about it, all the things you design, now don't take this the wrong way,
Yeah.
they're not things you need, but they're things you love, aren't
yeah,
they?
Yeah. And it's actually all based, everything's based around family. I love making things for my family in my home, so it's all sort of decor things. And and I don't follow any trends. If I love what I've seen and am inspired by it, I'll make it.
Okay, so take me back. So when Mandy Shaw was a little girl,
Yeah.
did she think, one day I'm going to be a famous red worker?
No. When Mandy Shaw was a little girl, she just loved being with her dolls and her bears. And I was going to be a great mum.
Oh, okay. So that was your plan, just to be a mum?
Well, I had no real plan, but I made everything for those dolls. And I've still got some of the things I've made for those dolls.
God, they'd be antiques
So
now.
I've always adored my little family of dolls, and I've always made things for them.
Okay, so when you were at school,
Yeah.
I wanted to be either a butler or a telephonist, which
Yeah.
my mum was very upset about.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with butlers or
no.
telephonists, but my mum... What did you want to do then?
Teach.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, because I used to teach my dolls, having them follow me.
Oh, you're a strict teacher.
Oh no, I wanted to share all my enthusiasm and my love for making things.
Oh, so it's a sewing teacher, not a teacher
always
teacher.
sewing teacher, always a sewing teacher, yeah. Always a sewing
And so did you train to be a teacher then?
No, I didn't. I didn't get my maths GCSE.
Oh.
Failed it twice. D.
Oh.
So that's the end. So then I quickly sidelined and trained to be a nurse, which I adored. It wasn't like a second best, it was wonderful.
Yeah.
So I did my SRN, I did my nursing training.
But don't you think destiny, we were talking about this in your kitchen earlier, destiny's a weird thing, isn't it? Because you kind of think, this is what I want, something knocks you sideways, and then the thing that it's knocked you sideways into is suddenly the better than you could ever have imagined.
Well, actually, nursing is very nurturing as well. And lots of nurses lots of quilt makers are nurses, but nursing, had lots of time at night duty to make things. But I also did lots of teaching when I was nursing as well. I was a dietetic nurse and things. So the teaching thing was still around, and the nurturing thing was big time. But when I go back to a hospital now, I always think, I could do this beautifully. My first ward report was Nurse Roots's efflorescent personality is sometimes too much for the ill patient.
Nurse Roots?
Nurse Roots, that's my surname.
Your maiden name?
Yeah.
Oh, Roots. Oh, it's quite nice though.
So it was always very. I loved it badly, but I always crafted while I was.
Okay, so when did it go from Nurse Roots to Mandy Shaw?
When I had the babies, I had Abby. I had my children. 24 hours had my children. So
How many have you got then?
3 girls, 1 boy.
Oh, four girls.
3 girls,
Yeah.
1 boy. So when I had Abby, I didn't want to go back to the strict regime of. So I did nursing homes and night duties and things like that. And then one day, in our little town here, there's a little patchwork shop, and they asked. I became friendly with a girl, and she asked if I'd like to come and work in the patchwork shop, and that was it.
Oh.
That was it.
So it started off not as a shop assistant, but working
Oh,
in.
absolutely, yeah. I worked so I could work and have my children, and it wasn't dodgy hours and things. So I could, whether at school, I could just do a few hours in the shop. And then when I worked in the shop, I did lots of sewing for the shop. Then I did sewing for the customers. Then I started teaching, ran workshops, did adult education, and it just rolled.
Okay, so you're famous now for all your kits and everything.
yeah.
What was your first ever kit? Can you remember?
Well, something I'm going to do later on, show you later on, a housewife. I think a little sewing roll was one of my first. I've always loved sewing rolls. You'll see later on, I'll show you some of them. I love sewing rolls and things. But I've a little angel quilt as well that I showed you earlier on, a little angel quilt. But I used to write the patterns to start with and just sell the patterns.
Oh, okay.
So that's the first thing I did, and the kits came later because you have to buy fabric in to make the kits.
So you need the money from the pattern. We don't want to get into your business, but you have to sell the pattern, something like to buy the fabric to then put a kit together. Because obviously all up front, isn't it? Basically.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's something that's evolved over a long period of time. I've got here over a long period of time, but also my family evolved with it as well. I did as many hours as I could fit in with my children, and then as my children left home, I expanded.
Of course. Yeah. So where does the inspiration come? Because we all know a Mandy Shaw when we see it.
Yeah.
But they're not all of you know, you have hearts, you have sewing boxes, you have trugs, you have dolls, you have nativity scenes. It's not like there's a theme and you know what I mean?
No, I'm not. You couldn't say to me, right, Mandy, you've got to sit down today and make this. I can't do that. I'm just pootling around. I love old children's books and things. I often look through old books. Seasonal things are very good because I love decorating my home. So we're coming up to spring and Easter, so I'll be thinking, oh, I've got a bit of bunting there, and I've got a basket of eggs there. But what else do I need? So it's my home always.
So your home, because we know your front window is famous at Christmas with all the stars. Yeah. But then, so all year round, you have different decorations in your house.
Yeah, I do.
So where are the chickens and the eggs that are going to go out for Easter? Where are they now?
They're all in boxes and bags and things. You won't believe it. You wouldn't believe it. You won't believe it.
And do you know where they all are?
Oh, I know where everything is. I know where everything
in that mess?
In that mess. In this mess. Yeah, I know where everything is. Yeah, I know where everything is.
Okay then, so what's...
So actually, I'm quite organised in my mess, in my piles.
Yes.
Yeah. Seasonal piles.
But as you say, you don't come into this gorgeous studio and go, right, today I am going to design a trug pattern.
No.
Your mind just...
As regards to the trugs, what happened with the trugs is that we live in lovely East Sussex here. It's wonderful things to go and visit. And we stopped by the side of the road to look at this lovely man who was carving wooden spoons, and he had the traditional Sussex trug. And I thought, oh,
you see, so you hadn't gone out thinking, oh, I know, I will do a trug. No. You saw something and thought, I can make something out of that.
So I'm inspired by what's around me. I'm inspired by what's all around me.
So where is it going? What's the plan? Is there a future plan, or is it just loving every minute of it?
This is just loving what I do. What I'd love to do. I love it that everyone else loves what I do as well. I love that. So my customers are very important to me, and I want to nurture those guys. And I love it how it works here. I've got wonderful girls that work for me. I want to make sure that everyone has a wonderful time. I don't see it. As soon as I run out of ideas, Dandelion Designs stops.
Oh, okay.
So I just need to be inspired, and what's happens now, everything I do is ever so easy. I've got wonderful girls, like Jenny came in earlier on, and she was my kit maker, so I can send the kits off to Jenny to make. So I delegate, and all I need to do now is, because I used to make all the kits myself, and I used to count the buttons and get them wrong, and people phone up.
Yeah.
So now I delegate all that, and I just sew.
So Dandelion Designs is the name of your company?
Yes.
Where did that come from?
Oh, do you know this story?
I'll have to make sure we've got enough minutes. Yeah, go on.
It's my darling husband is a Rolling Stones fan, and Keith Richards' daughter was called Dandelion. And when we had our first child, we wanted to call her Dandelion, but we couldn't. We knew this is Abby. We knew it was a little bit too out there really for us, and so we always had that name stored in our little.
So how do people, if people want to contact you, how do they get in touch with you?
Oh, just Google Mandy Shaw or Google Dandelion Designs and it pops up. And I have a lovely website with all my patterns and kits.
And people can buy off the website.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
So is there a favourite piece that you've ever designed? Is there one thing that you think that was my favourite?
One of the most useful pieces I ever designed was the housewife,
which we'll talk about. We can do another film about that in a minute. But,
and that is amazing. You know, John, this is odd. I love everything I make.
Oh no, but that's good. No, that's good.
Because you say to me what's favourite, I think the housewife was really clever. I love the way that fitted. But I love my sewing boxes. I love my little quilts. There's sometimes I make something and I think, oh, that's not quite right, but it has to go out because it has to go because every time you have to sometimes fulfil orders.
Yes, of course.
But I do, and I say to my ladies, love what you make.
Oh no, of course, yeah, But surely there must be one thing you put together, not saying the truth, and you've gone, that's not really Mandy, that's not really Dandelion.
Well, sometimes people say to me, that doesn't look like a dandelion. I say, it is, it's in there. But the other thing which is very topical at the minute, that I'm so proud of, is the Harriet Tubman quilts. It's a wonderful sampler quilt I designed for a beginner's course. But Harriet Tubman's been on television recently in a film. Not in television, it's a new film, and she's a young slave girl that escaped slavery, and I tell her story in a quilt.
Oh, wow!
And I've made that quilt about 3 or 4 times, and I've got a little doll and things. But that's a very, because it tells a lovely story and things I didn't know. A story about slavery. I didn't know all this, and that's a precious quilt. And it actually, I don't like the colourway of it much, but I love I love the quilt.
Fantastic. Right, we're going to have to stop there. That's the time. But we are, like I say, going to do another film all about the, what's it called?
It's called The Housewife.
The Housewife.
Yes.
So keep tuned, because that will be appearing very shortly on your screen. In the meantime, we're going to go and have a rummage around the house. We'll see you very soon.